Yo, what's going on, Shuffle Squad? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Today we are going to be going over the top 5 best decks headed into Salt Lake City. We've recently had Peoria Regionals, and we've seen Toward Reckliffe playing Lost Zone Toolbox, and the Shuffle Squad team member, Cal Connor, playing Palkia VSTAR. Where's the meta at? Well, this video is going to show you exactly what's going on, so by all means, be sure to give this video a like, share with your friends. Let us know in the comments below what you think the metagame is going to look like. Also in our comments below is going to be the list for all of these 5 decks, but be sure to stay tuned for the pictures as well and explanations. That being said, if you're trying to save on any of these cards, go to atlasTCG.com, plug in code TSS12 to save 12% on your next order of anything site-wide, whether it's singles, magic cards, Pokemon, sealed, graded. And you can also go to ptcgostore.com, plug in code TSS5 to save 5% off your order of codes. So if you're trying to build this deck online, by all means, you can build any of these decks online. If you are a Shuffle Squad YouTube member or Patreon pledge, you can also get 10% off, so stay tuned for that and consider supporting the squad. That being said, let's jump into our number 5 choice. Starting things off strong at number 5 is going to be Blissey V with Miltank. This is a deck that has seen success in the past, but really over the past couple weeks, it's started to see a lot more success at some online events. Blissey is just kind of a big tanky Pokemon, hard to knock out, especially when you have Cape of Toughness on it, bringing it to a basic Pokemon with 300 HP. You have Avery to kind of field off on those kind of Palkia V-Star decks, lowering their bench. With Avery, you have access to Miltank, which can absolutely shut down a deck like Palkia Kyurem. There's a lot of things that are just very difficult to kind of get through this deck. Will this deck get countered is really the big question. We'll have to find out at Salt Lake City, but right now its biggest counter, Regis, is completely banned online due to gift energy being unavailable to play. So I mean, Regis is not banned online technically, but gift energy being banned is basically the nail in the coffin. It's just not going to work out there. So I do think that Blissey's a great play. It might even be a little bit low on this list. I'm not going to lie, it's been incredibly difficult to get to a kind of definitive top 5. There's decks on here that I wanted to add. A top 10 probably would be closer, but it's really hard to place the top 7-ish decks right now. But we'll see exactly how the whole list turns out. Again, let us know in the comments below if there's any decks that you miss, but otherwise, this deck's just going to be attacking with Blissey, building up those energies, using Miltank against the right decks, and hopefully not seeing any counters from either side. Hopping into number 4 is the deck that I played to Peoria Regionals, Regis. Regis is all about getting all the different Regis in place so you can have access to Regigigas' Ancient Wisdom ability. And you can accelerate energies from your discard pile to your various Pokemon. If you're playing against an Arceus deck, a Hisuian Zoroark deck, a Blissey deck, you're going to use Regirock. Regieleki is going to be great against Palkia V-Star. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, you gotta choose the right Pokemon. Gigas itself is great against Kyurem VMAX and Mew VMAX, and you get the point. I decided to go with more of a path build for this one. Looking at the success from Peoria Regionals, I really think that the path builds are great at kind of stopping or slowing down Inteleon V, Kyurem VMAX based decks, and Mew VMAX based decks, and I mean, Path's just generally a good card, and that's really where we're gonna push that Marty Path on this deck. I think this list looks awesome, and I wouldn't be surprised if I ended up playing something like this again. The issue with Regis is are we going to see Ice Cube? Are we going to see Duraludon? Are we going to see Arc Gudra? I know those aren't necessarily the most popular, but when we see Lost Zone Toolbox expanding to Mirage Gate builds that play Ice Cube, and I've seen players experiment with Palkia V-Star with Ice Cube, is this deck going to be countered? If not, you might be chilling, but you still have things to deal with like Inteleon as well, so we will see exactly how this goes. This deck's biggest problem is going to be the deck itself. It's inherently inconsistent, so do watch out for that. It can be a little bit scary. It's not for the faint of heart, but it is a very solid deck list across the board. Jumping into our number 3 deck heading into Salt Lake City Regionals is Kyurem VMAX with Origin Form Palkia V-Star. The whole goal here is to be accelerating energies onto Kyurem and attacking for a large amount of damage. Palkia V-Star subs in as a strong attacker, and Inteleon V can do quite well against Lost Zone Toolbox and Regigigas under the right circumstances. Now, one thing that you might be noticing here is that this deck has Bibarel. I think the biggest issue when it comes to playing this deck is that it is very prone to getting Roxanne pathed by a lot of the top decks in format. That's really where Palkia is going to hand this deck. Otherwise, this deck is quicker, more consistent, has more damage output. Why would it lose, right? Well, really, it's Roxanne path, Marnie path. This deck can brick. The barrel helps you get away from that. That being said, I've supplemented that for Oranguru. We've also added in a Rose, so we could use Rose to accelerate a couple energies to Kyurem VMAX, and then you could kind of just go attack, attack, attack. So you could go barrel into Rose and just spring attack. Again, for 3 energies, you're good to go. Giving this deck a lot of oomph, a lot more power. I really do think that this is an ideal build for the deck, especially looking at the metagame. If you are looking to play this deck, sure, you might lose to Path sometimes. You might still get Roxanne sometimes. You can sometimes just hit a wrong matchup. But the power of this deck is unmatched to any other deck in format. So if you are looking for a great choice, by all means, this is one of the greatest choices you could be making for Salt Lake City. Jumping up into our number 2 deck is going to be Lost Zone Toolbox. This is the deck that brought Tord to becoming our Peoria Regional Champion. You might be wondering, Zach, why did you not put this deck at first? We'll jump into that in a second, but we'll go over the strategy first. This deck is all about using Comfey's ability, Flower Gathering, Chorus's Experiment, Lost Vacuum, and getting cards into your Lost Zone so that you're able to use Cramoran's attack for free, Sableye's Lost Mine attack for a single energy, and of course you got that Radiant Charizard to sweep things up. I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of the cross switchers in Tord's deck, but I did really like the path to the peaks instead of Pokestops and Colognes. That being said, we still have access to a Boss's Orders in here, we got access to some Echoing Horns in here, and I think this is a fine choice. The biggest reason why I don't think this deck is going to be number 1 is a lot of people are going to likely counter this. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more Espeon VMAX, if we saw more Blissey Miltank, if we saw other decks just trying to beat this. You're either trying to join this deck or trying to beat it. Not really one of those under-the-radar decks like Regis on this list, or maybe Mew VMAX or something like that. It's really one of those things where this deck's in the spotlight. You have to realize it's in the spotlight. It literally dominated in the finals. This is going to likely be one of the most played decks. Will this version see more success, or the version with Mirage Gate? I think that's something to be determined. I've seen mixed results from players all over the late night series and other online events, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a solid split, but it looks like there's, for every 4 versions of this deck, it looks like there's a 1 version that plays the Mirage Gate Lost Zone Toolbox deck. We'll have to see. I think that this deck also will eventually get mixed with the Giratina VSTAR, so keep that in mind as we go through here, that I kind of view Lost Zone box decks, including Giratina, Snorlax, all that kind of stuff, as one kind of archetype, and to me this is the best version to play for it right now. We'll see as the metagame progresses. I'll always be able to update things on a future top 5 list, like for Little Regionals or Warsaw or anything, so stay tuned for those. What's going to be our number 1? Put your best guesses below. Here you have it. The best deck heading into Salt Lake City Regionals is going to be Cal Connor's Palkia V-Star deck. Palkia has largely been the most successful deck, or one of the most successful decks, since it came out in June 2022. It was played at Milwaukee Regionals, saw success. Played at NAIC, saw success. Worlds, Baltimore, this format. It's been able to see success over the past 3 set releases of Astral Radiance, Pokemon Go, and Lost Origin, and I think that says a lot about the deck entirely. Now, it is one thing that I do want to note, that a lot of decks have tried to counter this deck immediately upon release. That's why we saw Flying Pikachu VMAX won Worlds. Otherwise, Flying Pikachu would not be seeing that same level of success. The goal of this deck is to accelerate energies with Palkia V-Stars, Star Portal ability, and smack things around with Subspace Swell. You have a whole slew of options when it comes down to Inteleon and searching things out with the Shady Dealings engine, and Greninja can double hit things and snipe, and Drapion V can even give you an answer against Mew with Lost City and stuff like that. Sometimes you just want to walk into a freebie matchup. This is really the list where I keep it as a blank canvas. That Drapion V could become another tech if you're really not expecting Mew. I think we're still going to see a lot of Mew, even though Mew is not on this list at all. And I mean, the reason why Mew's not on this list, if anyone's wondering, is because there's a lot of path in these lists up in the top 5. I mean, 3 out of the 5 decks feature path, or 4 out of the 5 decks. Am I forgetting a deck? I think every single deck might feature path. Let me know. I think it's at least 4 out of 5. Might be 5 out of 5. But regardless, Mew does not want to face path. This seems like a correct build for the deck going forward. I have been experimenting with Drapion V-Star, Ice Cube, whatever, but even though this deck did come second at the regionals, I don't think it got the respect it deserves. I think Cal Connor definitely knows what they're doing with this deck. They're literally one of the best pilots, coming 9th place at Worlds, top 16, 9th place at Baltimore, and 2nd place at Peoria Regionals. So really great player, really great deck. If you know what you're doing with this deck, it's going to take you far. It's really a solid deck choice. See how it goes. Palkia VSTAR, one of the best. But I want to hear your thoughts about this list, the list in this video, and which decks you think should be in the top 5. Are you going to Salt Lake City? Let us know. I'll close us out right now. And that's what we got going on with this video today. Hopefully you enjoyed looking over all of these decks. I really appreciate everyone who watched the video up until this point. Thank you so much. And do you think the metagame is going to stay the same? That's really the big question. Do you think this metagame's accurate? Am I missing a deck? What's going on? Let us know in the comments below. Again, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and by all means, use that code TSS12 discount at atlasTCG.com. Again, for any of your sealed, singles, graded, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon, whatever you're looking for, they got it. You also got that code at TSS5, save 5% at ptcgostore.com. So by all means, check that out if you want to support anything. Shout out to our other sponsor, PokeXWord, plays for Pokemon puzzles every single day. We appreciate all the support from everyone. That being said, I'll catch up with all y'all later. I will be in Salt Lake, so we will see y'all there. Peace out and have yourself a great day.
The Shuffle Squad is proudly sponsored by Atlas Collectibles, the best place to buy any trading card game product online. Visit atlastcg.com and at the checkout screen, make sure to use code TSS12 to save an unbeatable 12% off your entire order. Atlas Collectibles will ship your product anywhere in the world, so make sure you're taking advantage of the 12% savings with TSS12. And if Pokemon is not your thing, don't worry. Go to atlastcg.com and see all the other amazing trading card game products they have there to offer.
The Shuffle Squad is partnered with PTCGO Store to provide our community with the best access to Pokemon TCG codes. They have codes available 24/7, instant email delivery, and you can save 5% off by using code TSS5. If you're a YouTube member or Patreon supporter, you'll have access to a special code that gets you 10% off. So what are you waiting for? Use code TSS5 today and save 5% on your next order of codes on any codes available at ptcgostore.com.
PokeXWord, the best place to get your fill of Pokemon-inspired puzzles. New puzzles are posted every day, and they recently launched a new Guess That Pokemon puzzle, which is a ton of fun to play. Go check them out at PokeXWord.com and be sure to follow them on Twitter for your chance to win a ton of PTCGO codes every month.
Check out the Late Night Series Season 6, brought to you by myself, Zach Lesage, and the Shuffle Squad. We're going to be running a bunch of sick events for the Pokemon community, and they start on August 30th. So one thing you might be noticing here is that there's an EU time and an NA time. We have one at 12 p.m. Eastern, which works out to about 5 p.m. in London. And then we have one at 7 p.m. Eastern, which should help out a lot of players on the West Coast play in this event. That being said, we still have a lot of cool things going on. Expect similar prizing that we've had for other Late Night Series events. Expect better staffing, expect better tournament experiences, and of course we do have a stream going up for this season as well, and I will be streaming the event on Twitch. That being said, we have the whole season up on the Play Limitless website. Late Night 51 all the way through 70 runs until we hit the Invitational on November 5th. So check that out, sign up today, and support Zach Lesage Events and the Shuffle Squad. See you there.